everybody. Welcome to When Calls the Hallmarkies. This is a show where we are breaking down the last two episodes of When Calls the Heart. It's going to be super fun. We're talking about season 9, episodes 8 and 9 today. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Ruth Hill is here.
Hi, y'all.
Yep. And Caroline is here.
Hey.
Yes. Hope you're all doing well. And I think these episodes are interesting. I really liked episode 8. I thought that was really good. Episode 9, I'm a little confused by.
Okay,
it's bad.
Good. I'm so glad because 9 was not my all-time favorite. Okay. Okay. I'm glad I'm here tonight then, because I thought they're gonna come in and say, oh, they loved 9 and they understood it all, and I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm not sure. Okay, I feel better now.
I don't know. What did you think, Caroline? Or were you high on both?
I was high on 8. And then I love parts of 9.
Yes.
But as a whole, 9 wasn't as good as 8.
Yeah. So it's Hope Valley Days Part 2 is the title of episode 8. And it's residents of Hope Valley continue to enjoy the first ever Hope Valley Days Festival, but with an unwelcome visitor who's unexpectedly still in town. Everyone comes together, not just in celebration, but to help one of their own. So, of course, this is Jeffrey, May's quote unquote husband, that is the unwelcome guest. And we've been wondering, what the heck is happening? I guess May managed to intercept Faith's letter. So Faith was, I guess, misled about Jeffrey in Chicago. She thought he was a good guy, and it turns out he was not.
Mm-hmm.
And did she think that they were married as well? Did other people think that?
I assume so, because she said your husband.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume he told everybody, apparently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, didn't he? Don't we find out that he actually forged the marriage certificate? Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the thing, is he's going around telling everybody we're married and he can prove it. And why would you question it if he seems like a nice guy? You wouldn't typically think, even today, if two people were to tell me, or just even one person said, I'm married to this girl, I would just assume they're telling me the truth. I wouldn't even question.
Yeah. Your first thought isn't, oh, maybe he's a secret bigamist. Right. Which we find out is the case. But Nathan has to arrest May, and then Faith sees that she's upset about it. We'll talk more about this in the next episode, but yeah, Faith was confusing in these episodes. I thought, what is she doing? Yeah, I don't know, but it was interesting because we're supposed to be investing our time into, I think, Nathan and May Sue, but then, like I said, again, more in the next episode, but then it would seem like, oh, well, maybe not. We're just supposed to have her resolve the situation. I don't know. It was weird.
Mm-hmm. I like May and Nathan, so I'm like, May and Nathan.
Yeah. I like them too. I hope that I really would like to see those two come together. I don't know. They seem to be a good couple.
They're on the poster together. I mean,
yeah, true.
I would think.
So we have also Elizabeth teaching the kids about Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving, the main word, thanks, and then giving.
I was so confused. I'm like, explain that to me again.
And so they're having a Thanksgiving celebration. And then we also have Lucas taking over as the teacher, and he crushed it.
I know.
He did. He was great.
He was a great teacher. They're going to like him better than Elizabeth if he's not careful.
Sorry, go ahead.
When the more companies come into Hope Valley, they're going to need another teacher. So
Yeah.
there you go, Lucas. Like,
Mhm.
go with Elizabeth.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
evidently the saloon could run itself, so I mean, why not?
Yeah. Well, I've been a substitute. I did that for many years, and I know how it can be that sometimes a substitute teacher can come in and the kids like the substitute better than the regular teacher. That does happen. Not always, but
Yeah.
it does happen. And so I kind of had that vibe from Lucas.
When he said Koopa Loop, I'm like, it's done. Like, he's the teacher now.
Yeah. So there's this family that's in town, and Lucas sends them over to the saloon. Like we talked about in our preview show, the saloon is the community center. There's
It
nothing
really is.
unsavory except for that one time when they were gambling. And I was like, what is
One time.
I saw on Twitter someone comparing it to like Texas, like Roadhouse, or like a restaurant, like with like a bar on the
Mhm.
side. Like,
Yeah.
it's really not a saloon. Yeah.
No, it's not a saloon. We also have Bill in this episode. He's coughing up blood.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I feel like this is speculation, but it seems like it's worth talking about on the show. There's some people saying that Jack Wagner is going over to GAC, that he's it. I mean, do we think that Bill is not long for this world, this show? I mean, I don't know. How do you feel, Caroline?
I think he said I think the main cast are gonna stay like through the series. So I don't
Mhm.
see Bill. I don't see Jack leaving.
It just seems like coughing up blood is like
Mhm.
a big sign. It's like when they have a character throwing up, a woman
Mhm.
character, oh, she's pregnant.
Mm.
You know. And I feel
Well,
like coughing
I
up
think
blood
that-
is kind of that same thing. Like, oh, he's not long.
Because I
Yeah,
think they're
that's-
using that to get Faith her X-ray machine.
Yeah, I do too.
Mm,
I'm with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not worried, Ruth?
I'm not worried, but I will admit that I just don't follow much of the when calls the heart gossip. I just don't. I hardly even live tweet, so I'm not nearly as connected as I once was. So I'm probably not the one to speak as far as those kinds of things go, but at least I'm not getting that. I know I saw someone posting something about, is he leaving? Well, I'm not getting that vibe. I'm thinking, like Caroline mentioned, that this is a way to get Faith's X-ray machine. That's what I keep thinking.
What, like John
could be.
Tinker's been having these not lives, but like talks on the When Calls the Heart Facebook page, and he said no one's like dying, so like, no one's leaving. So I'm like, that's good to know.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad I brought
Mhm.
it up then, because
Yeah.
I don't follow all that stuff. So I figured one of you might know.
Mhm.
But it's definitely, there's something there. He's sick. And
Mhm.
so he says, oh, it's just a cracked rib, but you don't cough up blood when you have a cracked rib. That's, to me, that screams of like tuberculosis or something,
Yeah,
scarlet
right.
fever or something like that.
Mhm.
But
Hopefully they'll figure it out soon.
yeah. And then so Jeffrey talks about how, well, when they confront him, and he's bitter about not having become a doctor. And I don't
Mhm.
really understand. I mean, they didn't really explain why couldn't he become a doctor. I mean, there's
Mhm.
no like social things preventing a white man from becoming a doctor in this time. So I don't really understand why he couldn't become a doctor.
And he's smart enough to become a pharmacist. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because that takes a skill to be
Right.
a pharmacist, especially in that time.
Mhm.
And now, but obviously then they're doing more like concoctions and stuff. So it's not like he's not smart. So I don't know what
Yeah.
the holdup is.
I mean, I would say Jeffrey is pretty high up on our despicable When Calls the Heart villains.
Oh yeah.
Do you agree, Ruth?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I would say that, yeah, top five, definitely, and even top three.
Yeah, I think top three,
Ray,
because a lot of the
Ray
other
Wa-
people, were honestly just doing their job,
True.
like people for the railroad or people for the for the oil or whatever. Like they're not actually like they're kind of cold and not with the spirit of the town. But
Right.
when you really break it down, they didn't actually like do anything wrong. Here you have someone with two families.
Mhm.
What?
True.
Yeah.
Ray Ryan is still my least favorite.
Remind me about him.
He's the one that like was trying to frame, was it Henry, to do something with the railroad, and then he shot Henry. That's how he has a hurt leg.
Oh yeah, forgot about
And he
that.
was he's the one that got Elizabeth fired in season 4.
Oh yeah.
I think, if I remember, I haven't watched that season in a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So we also have more religion in these two episodes than I've seen in a long time on One Calls to the Heart. We have the whole sermon by Joe here where he says that you see somebody, someone God uniquely created.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what, Caroline, how do you feel about that? Do you like that?
I like that. Like, I like more church scenes. Like, I missed that over the years. Like, I know it's not a Christian show, but I like the notes of like church and stuff, because that's what Hope Valley is, so.
Well, it was nice too, because in this episode they had the sermon, plus they also had the Hanukkah scene with the dreidels and the lighting of the menorah and everything. And so I thought that was kind of a nice balancing act.
I hope they do more with Ned's faith if for like season 10. Like, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
Passover.
Right.
Yeah, that could be good.
Well, and I think it was neat that then you still have Ned coming to church, even though he's Jewish, he's coming to church, which makes you feel really good. Like the church is like very inclusive. It's like they're not excluding anybody. It's not like they're coming to church for a hellfire and brimstone service. They're coming because this is community. This is the center, the heart of our community. We're coming together, and we don't care what faith you are, what your beliefs are. We can just come together and have a positive, uplifting time of community. So I like that.
Yeah. And it was really cute, like little Jack with the dreidel. That was cute.
I'm glad they had Christmas time sprinkled in to these episodes. Yeah,
it was good.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast.
The Sweet Life by bestselling author Suzanne Woods Fisher is the perfect read to get you ready for the summer season.
Jilted by her fiance, Dawn Dixon escapes to beautiful Cape Cod on a groomless honeymoon with her mother.
But she didn't expect her mother to risk everything, on a whim, to move there permanently or buy a rundown ice cream shop in need of repair.
In order to make their new life work, they'll also need her ex's help, so things get messy.
Find out more at SuzanneWoodsFisher.com or use the affiliated link below.
That's SuzanneWoodsFisher.com. We're still having these days of the Hope Valley days, and we have Rosemary and Lee dressing as Romeo and Juliet, which was pretty fun.
Yeah.
His hairstyle, it was so funny. It took me a minute. I'm like, Lee.
Yeah, he could use a good trim. He needs to go over there to be honest. His hair trim.
Next episode, he was getting his hair cut, so he listened.
Yeah, and then we have trick-or-treaters coming by. And I did look it up just out of curiosity. I understand this is not a history lesson show, but I did look it up because I was just curious. Trick-or-treating was not a widespread practice until the 1930s. I guess there was that it first appeared in they just said on Wikipedia, a national publication in 1939. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
I was wondering about Halloween in the
Yeah.
early 1900s. I'm like, huh. But I mean, it was
Mhm.
cute seeing
Yeah.
them dress up. It's totally Rosemary, like
Yeah.
Halloween. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's okay. They had Halloween episodes in Little House on the Prairie, which is even like
Oh, that's true.
supposed to be earlier. So I think it's okay. I don't think it's a big deal.
I'm
No.
surprised I didn't have little Jack trick or treating. That would have been cute.
Yeah, that would
to
have been
see.
cute. That would have been
Mhm.
cute. Yeah, I mean, and if you think about in Meet Me in St. Louis, and if you've seen that, but the little Tootie, she basically goes trick or treating. It might not have just been known by that name.
Right.
Maybe they had a different. They would spook. There's a whole scene where in that movie, and this is set in the turn of the century, where they go around pranking everybody, basically her Tootie and her friends, and then they get spooked and scared. So anyway, I just thought it was interesting. But and so we have Hickam kind of standing up to Lee, and then Lee writing writing a positive editorial about Hickam.
About time.
Yeah. Because I mean, my question when Lee was talking about Mike being his friend, I'm like, why on earth would he think that you're his friend? Because I mean, obviously the mayor is going to be subject to criticism, and from the newspaper especially, but when it's just one after another, when he's just taken office, he hasn't. Yeah. What are you saying?
That's the thing, like he just became mayor and he didn't have time to get his platform, really going, and like he worked for Lee and he was his friend. I mean, that's what I was surprised about Lee and the pettiness of the articles.
Me too. Then we get a kind of a strange scene where Bill is basically drunk on cough syrup. I thought that was sort of a weird scene.
It was kind of wild. I agree.
I was like, what is happening here? I guess he's trying
talked about his ex-wife with May.
Yeah.
That made me laugh though, because he actually has an ex-wife, and so it was just funny to me.
So the one thing I wondered about is if she's from if she's from Chicago and is in Canada, May Sue, couldn't they basically claim that she's a refugee? And because it's actually a different country, you can't just go and take somebody from another country. Maybe that
should have told that to Nathan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do they have do they have refugee status like in the 1900s?
I don't know, because the mayor calls and says that the mayor wants her extradited back. But that would be my response if, given my limited understanding of international law, I would say she's protected. And anyway, so Minnie asks Anna's mother if she can stay and work in the cafe and live upstairs where Jesse and Clara lived. So that's pretty cute.
I like seeing the kids take on grown-up jobs, like especially the ones that have been around since the beginning or close to it. And I can't imagine not seeing Anna in episodes, so I'm glad she's going to be working in the cafe.
Yeah. I mean, the highlight of this episode though was everybody around the Christmas tree. It was so good. I do think that peak When Calls the Heart is Christmas. The Christmas movies are, in my opinion, the best episodes of When Calls the Heart.
Yes. And it's like we haven't had them We
Mhm.
miss them. And at least they've now put them in an episode. We don't even care if it's not Christmas because
Mhm.
this is Hallmark and we can have Christmas any time of year that we want.
Well, and them singing "Oh Come All Ye Faithful,"
Yes.
and the fact they didn't know who put the tree there was great. I thought that added to it.
Everyone was like picking someone and no one said Bill. I'm like, why doesn't people think it's
Yeah,
Bill? Like,
right. Right.
Well, didn't somebody say, "Oh, is it April Fool's
Yeah, I think
or something?"
Yeah.
To Bill.
something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
something like that.
But yeah, that kind of fizzled. There was no good April Fools.
No.
He did not do a good job with his holiday.
No.
I guess he's
Well, I
he's
think
coughing
he
up
got-
blood, so he has an
Yeah,
excuse.
that's why. Yes, exactly. I think,
But it was great. I loved that whole scene. It was really what the show's all about, the community, I mean, just everything about Christmas and the Christmas spirit and everything was great. I liked the whole Christmas gift of taking photos in the saloon,
Yes.
of course, once again. But that was really nice. And then you have Hickam as basically Santa Claus. That was great. I liked that all. I don't know if either of you, do you have a favorite One Calls the Heart Christmas special? I know, on the spot. Mine is the one with the basically where they have where the peddler is in
Oh,
town.
yes. Oh,
and he's
yes.
Santa Claus,
Definitely,
basically.
yeah.
That one's great.
when little Jack was born, that
Mhm.
one
Oh, my
that was so sweet. And when the orphans, that was the same episode. So I like
Yeah.
seeing all that.
Yeah.
Little Millie.
Oh, she was so cute with a gallon.
Henry, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Do you think of one, Ruth?
Well, the two you've named, I mean, are the ones that come to my mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know which of the, it's hard to say which one I prefer over those two, but those two
Yeah.
are definitely favorites.
Yeah, and so we also had a pretty funny little thing with this squirrel in the cafe. That was funny.
Yeah.
They're so cute together. I love Minnie and Joseph. They seem like a fun couple.
Yeah. So I think we covered most everything in the we did have some pretty strong flirting between Elizabeth and Lucas at the beginning. Imagine the kiss you would have gotten if you told me all
I
along.
know. And then she did it anyway. I'm like, she just went for it. I'm like in the saloon. See?
Yeah, in the saloon. That's what I'm saying. The saloon's where it's at.
Yeah.
They didn't really. What was the ending with the women? They were there for like homes. They have a collective homeschool. She starts her school, and then I didn't. Maybe was there an ending? Do you remember with them, Caroline?
They're talking with Elizabeth in the saloon, and she was giving them advice about how to do the
Right.
older
She was
children.
Yeah, she was going to help them get curriculum and stuff that they needed.
That's
I
right.
think. And I don't know. Maybe they'll be coming back, or maybe we'll see them again. Who knows? Maybe they've opened the door so that more people can come to Hope Valley. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, because there's that whole thing of them changing the districts and all that stuff. So maybe that will be impacted as well with these people. So, all right. Well, and I think it was Nathan who's reading the Valentine off of May's wall. That he says, "Love is the greater gift. It can't be forced, only freely given." It's like,
Yeah.
Good job reading.
Yeah. They're like, "Oh, that's so sweet," and then he's like, "That's what I thought too." Like,
Yeah.
Glad those three can joke around.
Yeah.
That's
So-
helped.
What would you give this episode, Caroline? 1 to
Oh,
10.
you always ask me first. Well, I said I like this one better, so I'm gonna say 10 because I like this one better. And it
Oh,
was
okay.
Christmas. in March, April.
Yeah.
April.
Mhm.
I was like, what month is it? April. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I think I give this an 8.5.
Ooh.
I thought it was pretty solid. It's not, especially the Christmas stuff was great.
Mhm.
So I think that's a pretty good score, 8.5. What about you, Ruth?
I'm actually going to give this one a 10. It was
Mhm.
the first one. Probably because also my mom thought it was the best one in the season too, so that carries some weight when we're watching it, and she really enjoys it. So that tells me, because she lets me know if she doesn't enjoy it. I hear about it, and
Yeah.
so I think that does influence it. I was kind of thinking, yeah, I'll go ahead. I mean, I might have given it a 9.5 or 9.75, but my mom kind of sent it over to the 10.
All right, good.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Well, episode 9 is called Recent Memory, and it's Walden returns to town, putting more pressure than ever on Lucas and the residents of Hope Valley. Bill comes up with a plan to stop Walden while new investors arrive from the oil company. So, are we supposed to believe that Mesu is gone? I mean, it was so weird to me because she leaves and they almost immediately pivot to Faith, and in Faith having a thing for Nathan, and all of a sudden it's like May is gone completely, like not even talked about once she leaves, and all of a sudden it's Nathan and Faith. I thought that was so weird.
She said to Nathan, Faith, like, oh, she'll be back, like May, like she'll be back, and like about missing her. And he was like, is this how you felt when Carson left? I think that's what he said, or something similar to that. So I think she knows that Nathan likes May and May likes Nathan. So maybe she's like trying to help ease the pain. That's what I got.
I just thought it was so weird the way that like it just seemed like immediately all of a sudden we've got Florence and Molly talking
That's the thing that
about
confused me.
talking about Faith having a carrying a torch for Nathan, when we've seen almost none of that. I don't even know how they would. I guess Molly knew it because of being in the infirmary with her, but still, I don't know. I just thought that was weird. Do you agree?
I think
Ruth?
Go
hopefully.
ahead.
I said hopefully Molly's misreading signals, and it's just like Faith is like missing Carson, and so she's like, oh, it's like they're have this young romance, maybe, I don't know.
Caroline, I hope you're right, because I would still, I'm not saying that Faith and Carson absolutely have to be together, but I would like to be able to see at least him come back and there be resolution, because I feel like we're still up in the air. I feel like that they just left all of us hanging last season about what's going on with Faith and Carson. And I'd be fine with the relationship coming to an end as long as he actually comes back and resolves it. But if she's already going off with Hickam or Nathan or somebody else, who knows? Maybe they'll put her with Bill next. I don't know. I don't know. But it would be, we haven't seen anything. The last time we saw any connection between Faith and Nathan, I thought was the end of last season.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Okay, yeah. So,
and then Faith says to Nathan that, or Nathan says to Faith, you can relate to a love interest leaving, but it's different because you were ready to get married. And then Faith says, oh, I wasn't ready to get married. And I feel like that doesn't jive with her behavior last season at all.
No. I know. I feel that really did confuse me. I'm with you on that.
Mhm. It was weird.
Mhm.
And then they also have Lucas and Elizabeth getting pretty cozy. I mean, and again, I know it's not a history book, but it is true that there is no way that that would be an accepted thing to be like lying on the ground together. Like, I don't know. Just stuff. I mean, I get little Jack
Overnight.
is there.
No
but-
way.
Kid in between.
It just wouldn't happen. I'm with you. Yeah.
And I get it. We give this show a lot of leeway, but still there are times when it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
That is going too far.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, if they're going to have them together like that, why don't they just get married? I mean, at this point,
Basically married now. So
Yeah, that's how I felt too. It was weird. I just that's a little too much. Where I understand that Hallmark allows that, like in their modern day, romances, but not period romances. Come on.
Well, and the other thing that didn't make sense to me is that, so Elizabeth is talking to Lucas about his parents and how busy they were and everything. But in my memory, he was all talking about how his parents basically had an ideal marriage. Remember, he mean that when they were about to break up, he just couldn't believe it. He was shocked. He thought that they had this perfect marriage. So what's happening here with that?
I think that's about his childhood, like about like not having like loving parents, like.
But I thought his parents, again, I thought he held his parents on a high pedestal. I never got the impression from Lucas that he was from a troubled home, like Elizabeth seems to be saying here.
I think like his mom didn't like show his love, like wasn't as affectionate, like with little Jack last year. She wasn't as like affectionate. She said she didn't know how to be loving. So maybe that's where he was coming from.
What do you think, Ruth?
Yeah, that's just weird. I don't know. There were so many incongruencies I felt with this particular episode. So I didn't even focus on that. But now that you bring it up, because that's what we saw last season is his parents. I don't know. His parents were having issues. That's what I remember.
He was very upset about that, about his parents. There was no like, well, they've always been a mess or anything like that.
Right.
He had no idea. And then he got them back together.
Yeah.
And so I was just confused about that. We also have all of this goings on between all this business stuff. So you have, so they say that they need Lucas to be on board if the investors say that he needs to be on board for a year. But then like Gowan ended up confronting the investigators because of the whole opening of the mine. And then Walden returns and there's this whole thing with Walden making Lucas sell the saloon, which I'm just getting so confused. There's just too many businesses at play here. We've got the oil business, we've got the mine business, we've got the saloon, we've got what? I have an MBA and I can't keep track of all these businesses.
I think Walden wanted to have like be in control because the mine is opening and that's going to help him with his business. So they're kind of like, if the mine gets reopened, then it will help him out.
Well,
I think that's what
Lucas is considering selling the saloon to Walden, but it's really just a front to try to catch Walden. But I didn't really understand.
Bill was setting it up, and that he and Lucas and who else was working? Lee and Rosemary and Elizabeth were the ones that knew. Because Nathan didn't know. I was surprised Nathan wasn't in on the. Well,
and they even staged this whole fight between Bill and
Hickam.
because they want him to think that they sold
Mhm.
the saloon, but it's not really sold or something like that. It's fake. And then he
They're
also
trying to set
says that the judge died who made the ruling about the mine. But I'm like, that's not the way that law works. Like it's not up to I mean, because you have precedent. Precedent is a thing. I know things are different up in Canada, but not that different.
No, I
Just
agree.
kidding. I tease about Canada.
Okay, ladies, y'all should edit this out, but I've got to leave. Could I just give my rating? Like maybe you could put it on towards the end or something, or
Oh
is
yeah,
that-
sure.
Okay, because I would give this a 7.5. That's my rating because I was a little bit disappointed and I'm confused. I'm looking for next episode to be really, really great. But that's my rating. So
okay. Well, we appreciate it. Do you want to share real quick where people can find you?
Yes. So I can be found Ruth Hill 74 all over social media. I have a podcast, Media from the Heart, and then mydevotionalthoughts.net is my website.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you in 2 weeks.
Okay, so we also have this guy Gilchrist, and so this is another business we have thrown in here is the Village Voice, and we have Gilchrist coming. He is evidently a guy with Hearst, which is in the media conglomerate at the time, so Lee and Rosemary are excited about that, but Fiona is very suspect of Gilchrist.
I think he's working with the investing company with the mine and the oil business, but somehow he's working with the newspaper as well.
Yeah, we need one of those boards where the spider web boards where you're connecting everything. Because I don't even understand how Fiona got involved in this to begin with. I don't even understand. She was like cutting hair and opening a barbershop, and then all of a sudden she's like making deals and traveling to San Francisco, and I'm just so confused.
Fiona has been frustrating to me this season.
Yeah.
Like I loved her last year and in 7 and in 6. But this year I was like, she's just like, stay in your lane, like
So weird. So Gilchrist, we'll see what happens with him. But
his name is Arthur, right? Arthur.
I didn't write down. I just wrote down the last name.
Because that's Matthew James. What I forget his last name.
Matthew James Adam.
He's gonna be Arthur.
I love him. He's great. He's a really great actor. So that'll be fun to have him. We also have Lee working at the cafe because he only has 3 jobs, so he needs
a
Joe. And Joe's upset with him about co-signing on the loan. I'm glad they kind of wrapped that up quickly because I don't know. I don't love that plot. Of, how dare you?
Yeah, I thought because it's just the Hope Valley way. You know what I mean? Like helping, but I understand where Joseph is coming from. Like he wanted to do it, but I don't know. I'm glad it's settled, and I think the cafe is still theirs. I think.
Yeah, I would think so. So let's see what else we have. Ned and Florence getting a washing machine. That was kind of funny.
Anything with Molly and Florence is funny to me.
Well, and I guess this was an electric. They had the plug. Like it was an electric washing machine, which I don't think there's much that's electric in the town that I can think of.
That's what I was wondering too. Like I remember
Rosemary. They had manual washing machines.
I know not Florence. Rosemary has lamps in her office. But I didn't know that they were going to get an electric washing machine.
In the last one, they do have the whole battle over the typewriter with Lee and Rosemary going on. So there's some of that. But but it was fun. It
Mhm.
overflows, and also we get his sock left out on the thing.
The missing sock.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then we have let's see here. Let me find the next spot. They give Elizabeth a cupcake, and I actually, just out of curiosity, I looked up, and cupcakes go way back. They go way back to like the 1700s. I would have
Huh.
no idea, but some form of cupcake has been
Mhm.
around for a long time, which I thought was kind of funny.
And his little singing was just so cute.
Yeah,
Like I
it was
love
adorable.
little Highland. Like and he obviously loves Aaron and Chris.
Yeah.
So that's sweet to watch.
Mhm. So we have Cooper is having a hard time sleeping, and then Walden brings the money for
Mhm.
the saloon, I guess, and then there's a big shootout, and Walden gets arrested, and then Julius goes on this. He tries to leave, and
Mhm.
Nathan races him down with like a rifle.
Mhm. I guess Newton is completely healed now from his traumas.
That's true.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, evidently he's like Walker Texas Ranger all the
He
time.
was just like doing like we need to have a video of Kevin doing those moves for us so we can see it in real time. Yeah.
Yeah. And we get the whole line.
And we actually saw his hand get shot. Like I was like, whoa. Like we don't actually.
It was weird. It didn't feel When Calls the Hearty to me.
I'm just glad. I think their storyline is completely over. Wouldn't you think?
I hope
Wyman
so.
and I'm so done with Wyman and Spurlock. Yeah.
I think there's still a little bit with the mine, but yeah, I don't know. I could care less about all of this business stuff. I don't know. It's not very interesting, and but according to Rosemary, it's exhilarating.
I told one of my friends, I'm like, I'm going to be so ready when the mine stuff and the oil business is completely done because I'm so tired of the oil business.
Yes. And evidently there was also this murder in Brookfield, and they are
the hotel owner.
That Bill. Oh, that's true. Brookfield. That's when Hope calls.
I wonder if that's what's his face, the cousin of
it could be. Yeah, but Bill filed a notch in the gun, so they can match it with the murder in Walden, and I mean in Brookfield, and so then Walden's arrested. So that's another good reason why this is probably all wrapping up.
That's for murder.
But then there's this fight with Lucas, Bill, and Nathan, which was so weird.
I'm glad at least Nathan is somewhat like hesitant about like maybe Lucas didn't do this, like I was surprised about Bill. Like I'm like, come on, dude. He's been good. He's been good. So
it was intense, especially for our character that we're supposed to be rooting for, to be with Elizabeth. But we'll see what they do with it, I guess. And then we also have Walden saying Lucas is working with illegal activities in Louisiana. So we'll see what happens in the next episode.
Has to be planted somehow, I would think.
We also get a conversation. Like I said, there's more religion in these episodes than we've seen. But Joe asking Cooper, do you see God as the big boss? So, yeah.
I love their scenes together, Cooper and Joseph.
I mean, if God's not the big boss, I don't know who else could be.
I know, right?
No one above him. I mean, that's it.
He's he is the boss.
He's the boss. And then, I think we covered. Did we cover everything? Oh, Elizabeth's Day of Beauty
Yes.
that we
Her-
get.
Whenever she was doing the nails, she was so tense. I'm like, oh no, it's not relaxing day for her.
Mhm.
Her birthday was intense. Like
Really
it's the
was.
first time they celebrated her birthday on the show, and they make it this big drama
Yeah.
filled episode.
And then we get a cliffhanger with Rosemary and
Mhm.
Faith
Mhm.
and saying they've got news for her. So
Mhm.
that's going to be the penultimate, or not, I guess not. There's 12 episodes. So
Mhm.
almost the penultimate episode.
Mhm.
We'll see what's going on with Rosemary. But yeah, this episode, I don't love it. I don't think it's great. I would probably give it 5.
Mhm.
What about you? What do you give it?
I'll give it 7.75.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Very good. All right. I just all the business, and then them just all, I just thought it was strange. All of a sudden we're supposed to be invested in Nathan and Faith. They haven't talked about it like practically all season.
Mhm.
And then we've been building up May and Nathan, and then all of a sudden she's gone. That
I
was
think
weird.
she returns. I think she returns by hopefully 12, like
I hope so.
beginning of 12.
It just seemed
'Cause,
weird to me. Like they need to keep building up that more, not
Mhm.
less.
Mhm.
I
Because she
think.
has to, because she came on a horse, so she doesn't have her stuff. So
Mhm.
even if she wants to stay in Hope Valley, she has to go back to Chicago to get her things.
True. That's true.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, maybe that's too harsh, 5, but I don't know. It's definitely one of the weaker episodes for a
Mhm.
while. So
Mhm. Hopefully, as the season as a whole, watch it back and it'll make more sense. Mhm.
well, we'll cover the next 2 episodes in 2 weeks, and then we'll do an additional episode on the finale and kind of cover the season as a whole for that one. So that will be fun. We're hitting the home stretch. We're almost done this season.
It's crazy. It felt like it just started.
I know it does.
Mhm.
So, Caroline, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Meeta Caroline R.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Also, make sure you're following the Hallmarkies podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave us your 5-star reviews. It really helps us a lot. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have tons of Hardee's inspired merch at our merch store. We appreciate that support. And also we have the Patreon group, which is a lot of fun. And we have all that information in the description. So thanks so much, everybody. And we'll talk to you all in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.